Welcome to this program on facilitating adult learning. We've got a series of short interviews with very experienced trainers in the field of facilitation. And for our first interview, I'd like to welcome Albert Kho. He's the Director of Speechcraft Services, based here in Singapore, Albert, right?
Yes.
And you've been facilitating for nearly as long as me, some 17 years or so, in Singapore and in the region, right? Okay. So what we're going to do now is to address some of the key questions that are likely to emerge in terms of how an academic faculty, teacher, trainer, who's perhaps moving into working with more adult learners can actually get off to a good start by using the right practices and being aware of some of the differences perhaps between teaching adults and teaching adolescents or in other educational sectors. So first question I'd like to say is, for lecturers, teachers who are moving into teaching adults, what are some of the key things that they would need to bear in mind that might be a bit different in their preparation for the lessons, for the facilitation sessions, and the way they go about teaching?
Right. First, for the preparation, I think they have to be very clear about the objective of the lesson, because adult learners are very practical learners. Right. So I don't think they want a lot of theory. So whatever theory you want to share with them, I think got to teach them how to apply the theory. And then we have to provide tools and processes for them within the lesson so that they take something practical away from the lesson.
Can you give us some examples of when you say you give them or you develop these tools and processes? Can you give us a couple of examples from your experience over the years?
For example, if I'm doing a program on, say, conflict resolution with them, I mean, there are a lot of theories about how to resolve conflicts and all, but what they really want to know is, how do I resolve real-life conflict at the workplace, for example? And for that, we need to give them specific tools, specific cheat sheets, and then so that they know they have something practical that they can use to resolve conflict at the workplace. And then in the training, we give them a chance to try these tools out.
Right.
So that's what we need to do more the practical stuff, with adult learners.
Right. Do you use your own experiences and case studies and stories as well to try to make it real world?
Certainly, because if we can do that, then they can better relate to what we are teaching them. So we need to share real life experience, especially our own experience, and share with them. And I think they can relate better to the content and to what we're trying to teach them.
So you're able to bring in your own process tools, your own examples, and some of the key things that you've learned. Do you get them to share their experiences as well? Is that an important aspect of working?
Yeah, that's very important, because adult learners come with experience at work. So they are willing to share if we give them a chance. So if we give them the opportunity, for example, if we have group discussions or we have paired discussions, they are more than willing to share from their experience.
Okay, in this series of interviews, we're going to look at some different aspects. Now, you've identified perhaps the key thing is that adult learners want something practical they can use. They don't want theory for theory's sake. Could you give us, from your experience, the things definitely not to do with adult learners, things that are likely to affect the relationship or turn them off? What are the real don't do things?
Right. Firstly, I don't think we should lecture to them, because adult learners do not like lectures.
Right.
So we avoid talking too much to them.
Right. So you can talk a little bit, you can have mini lectures, but
mini lectures.
20 minutes of monologue in the evening is not.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one. And what not to do is to talk down to them.
Right.
Because many of them come with experience.
Right.
So we should not act as if we are the sage on the stage, Even though we know a lot about the topic, we should not come across as if we have all the answers. Right. That's a real turn-off for them.
So what, in terms of language then, we've got to be careful about our language, haven't we? in talking to them, right? Other things that come to mind not to do?
Another no-no is to treat them like, I think, like students. Because while they're in the training class, it's still a classroom setting, but we got to try to make it as relaxed as possible for them, the atmosphere, and not dictate to them. Like, for example, timing of when we go for tea breaks, when we finish, even when we go off, when we end the program. And if you can allow them to have some say in it, I think that can engage them and make them feel as if they have some control over the program.
So you really have to show by practical ways, giving them choices, that they have adult status, and not say, right, we're having a break at this time, but if you're not back, you know, there'll be trouble, kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's an exaggeration. But things that we might do with younger learners, we've got to be very careful about those stylistic features.
Yes, absolutely.